Good morning, everyone.
Morning, Lewis.
How's everyone
Good
feeling
morning.
today? Good morning, guys. Welcome, welcome. Happy Monday.
Morning, Lou. Morning.
Good morning, Alejandro. Guys, give me a second. Let me get my my microphone or a better audio source.
Hi, Belinda.
Good morning, beautiful. Good morning, Alejandro.
Hi, Al.
Good morning, Belinda. Good morning, Sarah.
Hi. Alejandro, we're supposed to go live Thursday with that listing.
Oh, good. Yeah, it's better to
Yeah.
list. To be honest, you can
Thank-
get more. You can get
thank-
more money if you list.
Yeah, that's what I said to him. It's better to list it to expose it.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep. Did the right thing.
All right. How was everybody's weekend? You guys have anything good happen?
We're recovering from Thanksgiving.
Recovering. Yeah, that's right. This week is a holiday weekend. A lot of
Yeah.
shopping. I'm assuming you guys are getting the stuff ready for Christmas.
No, I'm saving. I didn't
Are you
shop.
sure?
Yeah.
I just came back from Illinois. I spent Christmas with my northern family.
Thanksgiving with your northern family.
Yeah, it was
How was
funny
it?
driving from 26 degrees and snow and heavy fog straight into 67 degrees.
I was going to ask you, how's the weather difference? How is it in Jersey, guys? It's cold up there?
It's cold. It's very cold.
Right on time, right? Never felt it's. I mean, it's. I can't even. I'm not going to go into details of how hot it is down here, but I don't miss it. I forget sometimes it's the holidays because it doesn't feel like it. It's so different.
Louis,
Yes.
you're coming in a little foggy.
Am I? As
A
far
little
as
bit.
you mean my audio or my
The audio,
the audio? Hold on, let me see if I can change.
just a little bit.
Let's see if I can do something better. Mhm.
Look, Al is giving you live photo of the weather.
Yeah, he is.
It's gloomy.
Is my audio better when I take my earpiece off, or was it better before?
Yeah, it's better now.
It's better now. Okay, let me just keep this off. It's probably my my headphones that are no good. I gotta get some new ones. All right. So with that being said, I know there's a lot of things going on right now with the holidays, with the World Cup. I know you guys are big soccer fans here on this call, so we're not going to get into any discussions about that. But there's still we got to get some business done. We got to make some sales, right? Life goes on. We got to pay those bills. So has anyone found anything good that's happened so far? Like recently, you guys have any good news to share? Anything that's been working? Same old, same old.
No,
Anything getting harder?
My farming's working.
Your farming's working? What kind of farming are you doing?
Subdivisions that I hit with random birthday cards and Mother's Day cards, even though it wasn't, I'm starting to get phone calls and interest out. Especially since I've put my new business cards of express offers in there.
With express offers?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
What does it sound like? What are you saying?
They want me to come out and see if their property is worth an express offer or not. They're moving for relocation reasons, mainly work,
Mm-hmm.
and two are downsizing.
Good. And you're getting a bigger response rate than you were before or ever?
Oh yeah, much. I got 10 I got
Wow.
10 calls.
Out of how
Over
many?
the
Out of how
holiday.
many cards, letters?
Cards, I do 50 cards in one particular subdivision every month.
Wow. So you got 25% return. You know, it's industry normal is like 1 to 2%.
Yeah,
That's
and
incredible.
this is a subdivision that really does not have a high turnover.
Mhm.
It's too old to have a HOA, but
Yeah.
is very well kept.
Okay.
So I'm very hopeful about this. And I learned how to farm that. I don't know if you guys have it, but I do know that it is a national app on the MLS called Remind.
Yeah.
Guys, if you have not taken their online courses to see what new they do, you should, because that was I think that was a big game changer for me.
You guys familiar with Remind? It's kind of like Realist, but a little bit, it's got a little more perks. No? Okay. Yeah, when you guys get a chance, I know a lot of the MLSs have it. I'm not sure if every MLS has it, but I know that a lot of MLSs switched over to it.
Mine doesn't. I just checked and I do not have it.
Okay, no worries. I mean, a lot of the things you could do with Remind, you can probably do with other websites. I'm not sure if Realist does it, but I know a lot of other websites have similar features. But I think the reason why Belinda likes it is, Belinda, correct me if I'm wrong, you're getting a lot of data. You're getting info on how long people have lived in the homes or the loan amounts and those types of things.
Yes, I have all the data. I could do all my sorting by everything off market, so it's not hard for me to do door knocking. I sort my data by off market, years in the home, and how
Mhm.
much equity. So I could really scale out on the subdivision who has the most equity.
Yeah, that's called
in their
targeted. I
home.
mean, you're targeting your audience way more narrow than just shooting, at like a million different targets and hoping that something hits.
And Trina, since you don't have it, I can help you, because I also realized while I was in Illinois, I was playing around with my family, telling them how much equity they had in their house and how much their loan was for. And I even know what interest rate they got their loan.
Whew.
And
Oh,
they
man.
were ticked off.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Yeah, we use Remind. I know we used it at Culture towards the last few months that we were physically there, and it did have a lot of data. As a matter of fact, I think it was it was a lot of data, but when you really tried to like scale the information, it had its limitations, but I think they've changed it probably from
They
now.
change it. They even tell you who's on the do not call list if
Yeah, there
there's
you go.
phone numbers provided. So
Mhm.
that meant that I cut out, I discontinued my services without, I even forgot the company that I was using before, but I discontinued the services when I found out that Remind can help protect in that way.
That's great. Yeah, because now you got it built into your MLS, which means you don't have to pay any extra fees for it.
Yes.
That's great. One other thing I want to mention real quick before we get started. I'm not sure if she's able to talk, but Ivania, she sent me a picture of her with Gary V, I think at Gary's parents' store in Springfield. Ivania, can you tell us about that?
Yeah, sorry, I'm at the gym, so I'm dying.
That's all
Good
good.
morning, guys.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So I signed up. I don't know how I get text messages from Gary Vee. I know it's not him, it's like a machine or whatever. But some days like a Q code and he gets me through the day or whatever. So the week before Thanksgiving, he said he was gonna be at his dad's store, his wine shop in Springfield. And then the day before, he reminded us again. So I just decided to go. And I wasn't really going to go because I woke up late. I drove to my sister's house, which was like an hour away from me for Thanksgiving. And then I decided to drive back home at 4:30 in the morning. So then I slept for a little bit. I woke up and I was like, you know what? I have like an hour to get there. I got up, got ready. I went there and I was literally 4 people from the end of the line. So by the time it was like 2 o'clock, they shut down the line because he had something to do at 4. But then he still came around and he took pictures with us. And I literally had the whole time to prepare for a question because I was there. I watched the whole, I can remember, I think the USA was playing that day. And then I watched the whole match, didn't think of a question. So when he came, he was so nice. And I think I got starstruck or something. So I just said, thank you for being real as fuck. And then he took a picture with me and everything. And then after I left is when he hit in, like, holy cow, I just met Gary Vee.
That's
But that
amazing.
was cool.
Yeah. You guys know who Gary Vaynerchuk is? I mean, is anyone on the call who doesn't know who he is?
I don't.
Okay. All right. Well, why don't you explain really quick, Ivania, who Gary V is to you?
To me,
Yeah.
I love how real he is. How he, I think, as a Christian, I think I steered away from him for a little bit because he curses a lot.
Yeah,
But
very
I
abrasive.
curse a lot. But I have learned that the more that I'm in real estate, that you have to stay true to yourself, and that's something that I respect about him. And he's very true to himself, and he came from nothing. So if this guy can get in front of people and curse, and he came out of nothing, you know, we can do it too.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So real quick, I'll explain to you guys about Gary Vee and how I came across him, and then we'll get into our content for today. So back in 2015-ish, 14, 15, Gary was starting to get popular, and I came across him on YouTube. And like, just like Ivani, I'm like, who is this guy who is cursing all the time and just like shouting while he's talking? I was like, this guy is like super cringe. Like, I thought to myself, like, who would listen to this guy? And then I ended up watching like an entire video, a montage of his, and I'm like, right, I'm like, this guy kind of spit out some things that make sense. And then I looked up another video of his, and it turns out that this guy, Gary, who was from New Jersey, and I'm like, oh, he's from New Jersey. I was like, no wonder he talks like that. But then I found out that Gary had actually helped his parents grow their liquor store from a small little, no-name liquor store to one of the biggest, if not the biggest liquor store in all of New Jersey. And he did this by leveraging video. And I was super interested in video at the time, but I just didn't know anyone who kind of like that gave information. So Gary said that what he did was he made a video about wine every single day for 1,000 days. Now, can anyone here commit to doing that? So I said, you know what, there's something special about this guy. If he did that, I want to know, like, what was his process like? What did he accomplish by like messing up in the beginning? How difficult was the journey? And he was very, very open and very transparent about the whole thing. Like, he even said in the beginning, like, I didn't even have a camera. Like, I had to go send one of my employees to go and buy a camera. We didn't even know how to set it up. It was crazy. And Gary ended up growing his parents' liquor store incredibly big, like so big to the point where like he ended up being so good at marketing that he ended up just opening a marketing company, and he left the liquor store to his family to run. So then he ends up opening up VaynerMedia, which is now represents some of the biggest brands in the world, and helps them grow their brand. But the beautiful thing about Gary Vaynerchuk is that he's got nothing to sell you. So he doesn't have like a Gary Vaynerchuk course, or he doesn't have like my mentorship course, like nothing like that he offers. He just literally creates videos to educate people on how to become better marketers and how to be better influencers in your space or whatever you're trying to grow. So I said, there's something about what this guy is talking about. And he said one thing that stuck with me and completely changed my life. The one thing that Gary said was, if you're not creating video for your business and you're not giving away the things that make you uncomfortable to give away, then you're not doing it right. So basically what he said was that get over yourself. You got to make content. If you're not making content, you're not running a real business. And number two, he also said, make things, share things that make you uncomfortable to the point where you're uncomfortable giving away that information. How many of us have like secrets that work for us? Like Belinda just gave us a great secret, that she said, is working for her. Imagine if Belinda now went on YouTube, created a video about Remind, and explained to everybody how she's getting a 25% response rate on her mailers. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, that has so much value, but to her, it might seem like, hey, if I do this, it might seem like I'm giving my competition an unfair advantage. But what if her competition turns into her allies? And what if what you give away comes back to you tenfold? So I tried this, and I wanted to try Gary's method when I didn't have my own real estate company. I had a partnership in a real estate company, and I went to my partner and I said, hey, there's this guy that I've been watching, and he's like incredible. He's grown companies just by giving away information and talking about the things that really has made him successful. Why don't we do the same thing? Why don't we talk about all of the things that really make us shine, the things that really have moved us along? He said, and my partner said, are you crazy? Like, you're gonna give your competition all the information that you got? You're like, that would never work. Like, that's incredible. Like, I can't believe you didn't ask me that. So I kind of just put that aside, and in the meantime, I just kept working on it. I working on myself little by little, kind of like trying to hone my camera presence by creating like little messages to the company, our company, sending messages to the staff, and just recording myself and creating like almost like what is that called? Like self-development videos that didn't have anything to do with real estate, really just generic videos just to get comfortable. And I did that for almost, I would say 6 months to a year almost, just creating content randomly like that. And then once I got the opportunity to open my own real estate company, I said, well, now I don't have anybody to check in with. I'm going to go 100% on this information that Gary has basically, given away for free. He's shown that really works. And when we did that, we were able to use our little experience that we had. Imagine we weren't even like that good at it. We were just able to use consistency along with video, and we were able to level out the playing field because there were bigger companies than ours, better capitalized company than ours, but we all got very uncomfortable and we started creating content pretty much on a daily basis. So much to the point where we were taking people along the journey with us. They were seeing our day-to-day development. They were seeing new faces. They were seeing new personalities, and it helped us really grow that brand quickly. We were probably, I would say, 100 agents within 2 years is not a small accomplishment. Like that was really something that to this day I don't even know how we did it. It would just seem like in a flash of a blink of an eye, it just all came together. But the thing is that when you do things like what Gary, and it's important, I'm bringing this up because Ivani sent me the picture over the weekend, but it's important to remind you guys, when we do things that stretch us, make us uncomfortable, and allow us to give more than we expect to receive, then that makes a big difference in our business, 100%. So this video today is not going to be, this meeting today is not going to be all about, creating content, because I've covered that in nauseam probably a million times already. But what I do want to talk to you guys about is what you do with your time. And this is another important thing that Ivani brought up to me last week, because she's finding herself nowadays becoming more stretched on her time because of gaining success and being busier and being a mom and having mentees and having team members and having appointments, like all these things that you have. Look at her, she's on the treadmill right now, she's still in the meeting, like she's multitasking, right? So like, how do we manage all these things, and how do we get people to respect our time while still being able to help everyone and help yourself at the same time, right? How do we do this? So we're going to cover a couple of things in that whole realm of how we scale a business. And I also want you guys to tell me what has worked for you and what hasn't worked for you, how you found yourself at times kind of like with your back against the wall, like I give up, I can't do everything today. So I've now over the last probably 10 years experienced a wide range, all the way from being so busy that I don't even get time to see my kids, all the way to being locked up in a house during COVID and nobody's doing anything besides just trying to figure out what's next, right? So we've experienced everything in the last few years, and it's really given us an opportunity to kind of recreate our calendars and our lives to what we want. Because what COVID really did for a lot of people is say, okay, it's reset time. It's time for us to figure out, how do we want to live the next few years of our life? What do we want our life to actually look like? Right now, we have an opportunity to recreate. And how do we recreate that? So the first thing is I want to talk to you guys about is balance. Does balance really even exist? Does work-life balance exist? Does balance in family and business, does it all exist? And the answer to that is not so black and white. It's not just like a yes or a no, because it could exist, but at any time, you're not doing one to your 100% capacity. Or if you want to really scale and do one to 100% capacity, then the other one's going to take a hit. So for instance, when I was growing culture, it was culture 24/7, basically. It was all culture and it was nothing else. So what I've come to understand is that in life, sometimes it's not about balance, it's about a sacrifice. Because during a season of your life or during a part of your life, you may have to sacrifice certain things to be able to balance your life later on. Balance doesn't all have to be all at the same time. I can give up my next 4 years to go to college and zone everything else out, and then spend the next 20 years of my life working at a career or a job or a business that I create because of the 4 years that I sacrificed everything else, right? So that's kind of like what I'm getting at, is the fact that we could operate in a constant 100% balanced mindset all of our lives and never really do anything at a great level. So for instance, if I want to, right now, I want to create a real estate team. In order to create a real estate team and do it at a very high level, I have to obsess over it. I have to wake up thinking about it. I have to go to sleep thinking about it. I have to take appointments whenever other people are available. I have to do Zoom calls whenever other people are available. I got to go to networking events whenever they pop up, right? It has to kind of be your life. Now, because of that, a lot of other things are going to take a back seat. You know, unfortunately, sometimes it might be your health, or it might be your family, or it might be whatever the case may be. So if I were to do that, I wouldn't be in balance. I would be completely out of balance. But let's look at that for a second. If I was to create a team and I was to create, let's just say, I'm just giving you an example. This is not about creating a team in this video per se, but if I was to create a team, that would set me up for the next stage of my life, where then I could let my foot off the gas a little bit and I could start getting some hours back in my day. So if I've got a showing agent, I've got a listing agent, I've got agents that I've recruited to my company who are bringing me passive cash flow every month. Now I can say, well, I've got 10K coming in every month, no matter what. What can I do now to improve other aspects of my life? Well, I'm out of shape. You know what? Every morning I'm going to run a 5K, or every morning I'm going to go to the gym and I'll spend an hour and a half there, or every morning I'm going to read 100 pages. Whatever it is that you've been lacking within the last, who knows how many years or months or however long you kind of obsess over one thing, you then go back and say, okay, what other parts of my life can I fix? Right. So if that's how you operate, I believe, in my opinion, I could be wrong about this, and I want to debate, you know, anyone here who has a different way of looking at it. The reason why I think this is more effective is because when you completely immerse yourself in one thing at a time, or one goal at a time, you complete that goal much quicker. And then you can let your foot off the gas a little bit. You can delegate, and you can almost put that one thing on autopilot and then move on to the next thing. What I've noticed that's happened in my life is that when I try to attack too many things at once, I don't become great at anything, and I don't get success in anything. I don't really make more money just because I'm doing more things. I recall when I was having my first daughter, I was so excited, but at the same time, I was so nervous. Right? I didn't even know it was going to be a girl. We just knew we were pregnant. We were going to wait till the baby was born to find out the sex, but it didn't matter because I knew there was another life that was coming to this world that I was going to be responsible for. And at the time, I was in real estate. I was also trying to get my stronghold in investing, and I really couldn't figure out what it was that I needed to do to be a good provider. So then I started doing everything under the sun. I started thinking, okay, well, I know how to do construction because of all the work that I do for myself. So I'm gonna start a construction company. I'm gonna help my brother grow his construction company. I'm gonna learn how to do all these other things. And I wanted to do more things because I said, if I do more things, I'll be a better provider. And the opposite happened. I ended up wasting months of my life thinking I was going to be good at doing multiple things and being happy at doing multiple things, when I ended up just burning myself out until I just gave up, threw in the towel, and I just spent the next couple of weeks figuring out what have other people done that have made them successful. Who do I want to emulate? Who are the people that I look up to? And maybe if it's not in your circles, because maybe sometimes our circles are not inspiring to us. Hey guys, we got the internet. We can learn from anybody. So I go to the internet and I run into this guy, Gary Vaynerchuk. I run into this guy, Grant Cardone. I run into this guy, Tony Robbins, like all of these people who I'm like, wow, they're doing great. And the economy wasn't doing so hot. The economy was still recovering from the 2008 crash. My daughter was born in 12. So we were still kind of figuring out what was next in real estate. So I'm watching these guys and I'm like, there's something to all of this. So what I did was I reprogrammed my brain by listening to the things that they had to say. I started doing things that were weird and awkward, such as creating a whiteboard, writing down my goals, figuring out what I wanted to do next, basically sharpening my sword and not just going out there wild, thinking I'm just going to take over the world by doing more and not thinking. So when you do this, you kind of prepare yourself because when you know what you want to do and what you know, and when you figure out what you enjoy doing, you do it much better at a higher capacity. So when I did that, the world literally opened up. I cannot tell you guys how this happened, but it just opened up. So going back to the main point of this conversation about time management, what I did was I blocked everything else out and I spent some time working on my vision and my goals. And that's it. And that's all I did for like a good week or two. And then once I figured out what my vision and my goals were, then I knew where I wanted to go next. I knew where I wanted to be in and where I wanted my life to look like. And within 2 weeks of me doing that, I opened up my first real estate company. And I was the one who found it, had the idea to do it, pushed my partner off the ledge to do it with me. Like, it was because I took that time. I not only altered my life, I altered his life. I altered the life of my children. I altered your lives because you wouldn't be here right now if I would have never taken a step to be a leader. And because of that, I've learned that in life, sometimes we have to just do one thing at a time and do it great. So, which I'm going to kind of condense everything and bring my point to you guys in just a second. And then in other times in my life, when I've done multiple things, it's like, you ever see a dog chasing its tail? That's what you feel like. That's what you feel like when you're doing multiple things at once. But sometimes we don't have the luxury of choosing what we can and can't do, right? Because we're parents, or maybe sometimes we know we're team leaders and we're like that, right? So how I learned to balance this once you get into a point where you have so much on your plate is you have to prioritize and you have to question yourself at all times. So what I mean by that is this. If your health is priority, everybody's health should be priority. Now, like, that's no excuse for anyone to say I'm too busy to take care of myself, because without health, you can't do anything. So everyone should be waking up at least early enough to do something healthy every morning. You know, however you do that, it's up to you. But everyone should start their day with that. Not only because, hey, you want to look good, you want to feel good, but you're more productive when you do that. I'm not sure if you guys have ever been on a streak or you do this regularly where you exercise in the morning, you've got more oxygen flowing through your body. This is not just me giving you mumbo jumbo. This is scientific fact. When you exercise in the morning, you get more oxygen into your body because you're breathing, and you're feeling more nimble. And try doing that for an entire month and then stop doing it and see how you feel. The days that I do not do something physical in the morning, I can't focus. I don't feel the same type of motivation. It doesn't work. So what I've learned that really helped me, and what I've learned from other people who's really helped them, you start your mornings with something that's super healthy for you, right? A good walk or good exercise, whatever that is. And then right after you get your personal things done, you have to dive into your best work early in the morning, the most important work immediately, which means that you do the things that are uncomfortable. You do the things that are hard. You do the things that you know really make you money. You do that first thing in the morning. You don't check your emails. You don't check your phones. You don't go on social media. As a matter of fact, if we're on social media and we're on there because we're observing and we're consuming and we're not producing, then maybe it's time that we take those apps off our phone if we can't control ourselves, right? So if you find yourself in the mornings doing the opposite, where you kind of just want somebody to tell you what to do by checking your email, because subconsciously, what we're doing when we check our email is we're telling our minds, I don't know what to do next. I didn't prepare for today. So I'm just going to check my emails until I find some busy work. And then once I get that busy work, I'll feel like I'm doing something. I'll fool myself into thinking I'm working. And then I'll go and do those tasks, which will just keep me busy until 5 o'clock comes around. And then I'll go and prepare dinner. And then I feel like I had a complete day. And then you look back at your day and you ask yourself, what did I accomplish today? What did I create today? Who did I meet today? What deals did I put together today? And you look back and you didn't do anything, right? So what you have to do is turn your mindset upside down, which means that you ignore all these distractions, because that's what they are, is complete distractions. And you start your day with the most productive things and the things that will make you the most money first, right? And one of the things that Ivani mentioned to me is that now that she's getting busier, she's got other people who rely on her, such as mentees. She's got agents that work with her, and they are not, they don't care. When somebody needs help, they need help. They need help right now. The problem is that she feels like her people may not always understand that, she has things going on too. So one of the things that I mentioned to her is, hey, do you have Calendly? And she's like, no, I don't know what that is, or I don't have it. So I found that this app, and you can use it for free. I found that this app is really, really good because what it allows you to do is share your calendar with other people where they can book a time to speak with you for 15, 30 minutes, an hour, depending on how long the conversation needs to be. They can block that time off in your calendar. But what you could do in your calendar is say that between 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., that is your productive hours where you're not going to take on anybody else's issues, right? And it doesn't have to be 9 to 10 to 12. It could be 9 to whatever hours work for you, that's fine. But what it allows you to do is then control your day, because you know that from 12 to 2, you've got almost like office hours where people can book time with you and you can deal with everyone else's problems. And then after that, you go back to doing whatever it is that you need to do for the rest of the day. So that's one little hack that I learned works exceptionally well. And it works really, really well now that we're virtual, because this does not work. This whole Calendly book a time with me does not work when you're physically in an office with other agents, because you could be at your desk working on something super important. People just walk into your office. They just knock on your door and come right in. And the server in you, and I know in me, like the people who like to help other people and serve other people, you never turn anyone down. So that was kind of like my biggest flaw, is that I never said no to anyone when they needed help, no matter what time it was, no matter what part of the day it was, no matter what I was doing, I always helped people. But now that we're virtual, it has almost seemed like we've gotten our lives back to an extent, because people can't just walk into your house, as much as, you may have a good relation with someone, they at least call first before they come over. So this has really allowed us to get our time back. And there's no excuse why we can't, if we don't respect our own time, no one's going to respect it either. So now that we've got this boundary in place, we can now use technology such as Calendly, or you guys can even share your calendars publicly on Google Calendar. There's a lot of ways you guys do this. And if you guys have never done any of this, there's YouTube videos on all this stuff. But it really does help out, because then it allows you to be more methodical about your day. And it really allows you to create the most out of your day. And while we're on that topic of getting the most out of your day, you also have to ask yourself about your to-do list, right? Like, how many people here work on to-do lists? Do you have like a goals list for the day? Do you have a goals list for the week, or the goals list for the month? Do you guys use that regularly? Is that something that you guys live off of? Right? I know I love, it feels so good to check off the stuff on your to-do list. But how many of you have a to-don't list? Like, what don't you do? What shouldn't you do? If you get caught doing something, like, you got to punish yourself, or tell somebody, hey, if you see me doing this, please smack me upside the head. Like, don't let me do this, right? And I remember many years ago, I had a training with our agents at Culture about, we make the money we make is proportionate to the activities we do, right? So if we find ourselves, let me give you small little examples. If we find ourselves where we're getting to the point where we're making consistently, let's just give you an example. Let's say we're consistently making $5,000 a week, maybe a closing a week, right? Maybe let's just give you an easy number. That means we're making about $1,000 a day, which means that if we break that down, you're making about, say, about $150 an hour, more or less, right? Just to break down some easy numbers, about $150 an hour. But then once we figure out that we're making consistently $150 an hour, then we're taking our laundry. We're taking our dry cleaning to the dry cleaners. We're cleaning our house. We're washing our own car. We're mowing our own lawn. We're doing all these things that we catch ourselves sometimes doing, and we're like, wait a minute. I make $150 an hour and I'm mowing my lawn for an hour. The kid down the street charges $40 to cut the lawn. I can just pay him the $40 and get my hour back and go do something productive. So a lot of times we find ourselves doing things that don't make us money, but have to be done. But we're scared to delegate that because we're still in a scarcity mindset. We're in a mindset where I can't hire an assistant because I can't afford an assistant. Meanwhile, we're still sending out our own letters. We're licking our own envelopes. We're doing transaction management, and we're doing all these things that we can pay somebody $20 an hour to do, and even maybe $5 to $10 an hour if you use a virtual assistant. We're still doing these things, and then we're questioning ourselves as to why am I not growing? How come that guy over there does so many more deals than me? That girl over there does, 10 deals a month. Because they're not doing the little things. They're not doing the things that we think that no one else can do better than us. And if that's sincerely where you're coming from, the fact that you don't think someone could do something better than you, well, let me just remind you that Elon Musk recently stepped away from Tesla to go recreate Twitter while somebody else is running Tesla. Like there's people that are running Tesla better than him. And if the richest man in the world can find people to take over his position temporarily, I think we can find a VA to help us with our transaction management who can do as good of a job as we can. So let's never tell ourselves or lie to ourselves that we can't get someone to help us because nobody could do it as good as us, right? That's really just fooling ourselves. I'm not saying that you have to do that today. If you're not financially in a place where you can do that today, where you can hire people to do different things, then make that your first goal. My first goal is to not have to clean the house anymore. I'll get a cleaning lady to come once a week. Get a cleaning lady to come once a week. She charges you $150 and she cleans your house meticulously from head to toe. And if that's your first goal, then that means, okay, now I've got 3 hours back in my week because it takes me 30 minutes a day to clean the house. And I don't have to do that anymore because somebody comes once a week, cleans the house and does the laundry, right? It cost me $150. Now, what do you do with that time, right? You can take that time and now say, okay, well, now I'm going to go watch YouTube videos and TikToks for the next 3 hours because I got my time back. You have to now make sure that that time that you got back, what do you do with that time to leverage it so then you can be even more successful? Because in 3 hours, that's enough time to prospect. That's enough time to create a new mailing list. That's enough time to follow up with your old clients. That's enough time to go visit your accountant and see if they've got any new clients for you. That's enough time to go networking. That's a lot of time back in your week. So if we're going to start taking steps to make ourselves more efficient and more highly effective, then we need to do the right things with our time. Okay. So for a lot of us, we've gotten to the point where we're like, okay, well, I don't have any time at all for anything because I have all of these things and I wear so many hats. And if you look at that from a bird's eye view, not from your perspective, because you've already convinced yourself that there's no more time in your day. But if you look at your life from a bird's eye view, a lot of times we take on busy work. We take on busy work just because we don't want to feel bored or we don't want to feel effective. But what we can do is eliminate the busy work to the end of the day. We don't have to put the busy work early. We don't have to put the busy work in the beginning. We don't have to fool ourselves that, hey, you know what? Going to put gas in the car is part of my routine today. I have to do that early in the morning. No, you do that, when you're by a gas station later on. If you're on a half a tank and you're by a gas station, you're like, am I going to need gas in the future? I'm by a gas station. Maybe I should just go now and fill up before I find myself in a rush to an appointment and I'm on E and I have no gas in the car. Like then you're not, you're not really being proactive and thinking about, how you can better spend your time. But what I challenge you guys to do is create a list, right? Create this list. I want you guys to create this list of, and it's going to make sense in just a second. I want you guys to create this list where you write down the things that you do on a weekly basis, all the things you do, every one of your tasks that you have to do on a weekly basis. Start with your business tasks first, and then start with your personal tasks and put them all on paper. And then I want you to prioritize and put 1 to 5 or 1 to 10, whatever you guys want to do. The most important things on your list that make you the most money, right? Give that a score, give it a 10. If it's the most important thing, such as like prospecting or mailing out, whatever, maybe that's your biggest money maker, put a 10 next to it. And then eventually you're going to get the things that you do that don't make you any money and you hate doing. So for instance, I hate cleaning windows, but I do them because I got to clean my windows. Maybe you put that as like, oh, that's number one. I hate that, right? So what that means is that as soon as you get the ability to do so, you're going to stop doing that and you're going to give that responsibility to someone else. And you work your way up that list. You knock out all the ones first, then you knock out all the twos and all the threes and all the fours. Well, until eventually you're only going to be doing the eights, nines, and tens. You're only going to be doing the most creme de la creme things in your life that make you the most money, return the most happiness on your time, because that's part of it too. Because there's certain things that you do in your life, you do in your business that you know make you money, but you absolutely hate it. Like you hate it with a passion, right? So for instance, like taxes, I can't even think about taxes. I hate taxes, right? But you know you have to do them because they're important, because they cost a lot of money if you get them wrong. So if you know that, hey, this is something that's super important, but I hate it, well, eventually you're going to delegate those things too. But those are going to be the last things you delegate because they're important. And then you end up doing, eventually, this is how you craft your dream business and your happiest life, is where you end up only doing the things that make you the most money and that you love doing the most. If you do this exercise, you'll only end up doing those two things. And then you think to yourself, wow, I get paid to do this? This is amazing. I love that. Right? So imagine if, let's just say my business, for instance, let me give you an example. If my business was just about meeting new people, creating content, and helping others, if that's all I had to do, I'd be beside myself. And you know what? I'm getting to that point where that's all I do. But it took me many, many years to get there. I didn't start with that. I started with doing everything myself and telling myself the same stories. No one could do it better than me. Listen, guys, I was closing 100 transactions a year and I didn't even have an assistant. I was doing everything. I just got was scratching the surface of getting someone at the time when I was doing 100 deals a year. And I was still telling myself that I couldn't, and no one could do it better than me. And to an extent, I was right, because I was hiring the wrong people. So don't be afraid to say, hey, maybe it's not that no one could do it better than me. Maybe it's the fact that I'm hiring the cheapest person, or I'm hiring the most unskilled person, because the difference between someone you pay $10 an hour to someone you pay $15 an hour sometimes is light years difference. It could literally be someone who you could end up doing the work for them and you're paying them $10 an hour, or someone you're paying $15 an hour and you're like, oh my God, I cannot believe how efficient you are, how well you keep me on track, and how much more I'm doing because of you. Because you could end up doing an extra 30 deals a year because of this one new hire that you're paying fractionally more money. If you do the numbers, I'm just giving you an example. It doesn't have to be, a difference of $5 an hour. But let's just say you hire somebody for $40 an hour and the difference is $5. That's an extra $200 a week that you're paying someone. And maybe because of that person, you're closing an extra deal a week. An extra deal a week on a low side is an extra $5,000. So because of this one person, you're making an extra $5,000 every week. But sometimes we settle with a $10 an hour person who not only isn't being effective, you have to constantly retrain, you have to constantly babysit, you're constantly stressed out because you're catching them on Facebook or Instagram or whatever they're on. Like, it's a nightmare. You do not want to work with people like that. So when you tell yourself no one could do it better than me, it's maybe because you've been hiring the wrong people. And I've learned that too. I've hired the wrong people. I've hired some great people. And you start to learn that there is a major difference between a person that you scrape the bottom of the bucket with, who you like, oh, I just want to get the cheapest person. And then there's a big difference between someone who is maybe already trained, maybe someone who's more professional, maybe somebody who's got skin in the game, maybe somebody who has children of their own, who they know, like, I got to do my job right because I got kids to feed, or maybe I got goals. I want to, buy my own house, and maybe when you interview someone, you ask these things, you say, what motivates you? And if the person tells you, look, oh, I'm just here because I need a job. I'm in college and I need a job until I get my law degree or I get my maybe they want to be a personal trainer, they're, whatever, and they have other goals for themselves, and you think they're going to take your business seriously, that's not always the case. And sometimes we have to hire people that are different than us, because we tend to want to hire people who remind us of ourselves, or people who are like us. And maybe we're the problem. Maybe we need to hire someone who's different than us. Maybe someone who's got more experience than you as a human being on this planet. They don't always have to be younger than you, right? So there's a lot of things that we can do to get our time back, our life back, and to be able to be more productive and to be able to scale. Like sometimes we feel like we're stressed out. We've got a couple of employees, maybe we got a couple of agents that are working with us. And then you think to yourself, how do these people do it with 100,000 employees? How do they do it when they're building billion-dollar companies? Right? It's all about time management. It's about getting your life back and only doing the most important things. But in the beginning, we do everything, but along the way, we learn how to delegate it to other people. And then before you know it, you're a master delegator, which means that you're a highly efficient person who does not do the things that are not the most suited for their time, for your worth. Because even though you may enjoy doing something that doesn't make you any money, eventually, if you want to grow and get your life back in balance, you have to let it go. You have to let those things go. And that's how you're able to create something huge, something massive, if that's what you want. Some people don't want that. Some people just want to be comfortable. It's fine. But if you really want to create something that's huge, something that's going to outlive you, which is the true definition of a business, and still have somewhat of a life where it allows you to have balance and spend time with your family, go on vacations and do those things, you have to initially A, sacrifice, and then B, learn how to delegate. If we do that, and we're able to, alongside with delegating, use technology, like I explained earlier, with respecting your time on the calendar, meeting with people when you have the time, not when they want to, and just doing the toughest things early on in your day. All of these things lead up to you being able to take your life back and be the most efficient, highly effective version of yourself. Yeah, no worries. So I want you guys to chime in. Sorry, I got a little visitor here. But what do you guys think? Are you guys having any of the same issues? Do you guys feel some of the things that I'm speaking about here? Anyone have any examples, or maybe feel like they're maybe at a point where they're stuck and they're not able to leverage their time?
Yes, myself, my virtual assistant, it become very ineffective. For example, like to calls and follow up and stuff like that, he's not really good at it. So I put him do paperwork and stuff like that, like DocuSign, put his stuff in the MLS and whatever. But I noticed that after a while, it looked like I think he lost interest or whatever.
Yep.
So he was doing like the contract, sending offers wrong, like just doing whatever whenever he has the time. So I just told him to take off a week, to take. So I managed the paperwork myself, and it doesn't really take much time. I think it's taking more time to explain to him, than just go ahead and do it myself.
Yeah.
So that's where we are right now. But I know I'm not gonna be able to grow.
Mhm.
If I don't get help.
Yeah.
But like you say, maybe I'm hiring the cheapest guy. Like you say, he's in college, and whatever you say, man, it was it just hit me on my end. So
Yeah.
I gotta maybe look for somebody more expensive.
Yeah, man. Thank you for sharing that. I think what you're saying is a position that I've been in the past as well. But we have to remind ourselves, we're not running a charity. We're running a business. And if we run out of money, is anybody going to come and save us? Think about that. No one's coming to save us. So at the same time, if somebody is not pulling their own weight and adding more value than what they're taking, then you need to let that person go. If you already tried and spoken and done your best to get that person to understand, then you have to let them go. And immediately you have to figure out, okay, now how do I solve this problem? How do I get someone that is not going to act like this? What did I learn from this employee, and how do I hire better? So yeah, I think you're in a position right now, Alejandro, where you can actually boost your business, and you can probably see a massive growth because you've had almost like you've been carrying on some dead weight for the last 3 months. You could probably go in there and do something big. Let me give you guys a quick example, and some of you may may understand this better than others. But the first thing that people do, or business people do, when they buy a company, is they lay people off. They cut people from the staff, not because they're bad people, not because they have no human compassion. It's because a lot of people are complacent. A lot of people are there for just a paycheck, and a lot of people there are they don't have their goals are not in line with the company's vision. So what a lot of people do who are business people, and they go in and buy companies, restructure them, and then take them public or sell them off again. It's basically like house flipping. So in house flipping, let me give you guys this great example. Let's just say I bought a house, and it was an older house, and it had, all the old things you could think of. As an investor, as someone who has a mindset of an investor, you go in there and you're like, okay, well, the pipes are no longer good because they're all rusted and they're leaking. The electrical is dangerous. Like, it's got a lot of places that are coming apart and coming loose, and the roof is leaking, and the roof is got to be like 30 years old already. So you go in there and you're like, okay, well, I got to improve this, I got to improve that, and I got to improve the third. And now, after I've improved those things, I've made my house now essentially better. I'm able to get more rent for my house, or I'm able to sell that house for more money. Well, in business, we do the same. We go into a business and we're like, okay, what's not working so I can fix that, so I can make it more valuable. But a lot of times we don't look at our business like we would a house, but it's the same thing. It's just not a physical touch thing that we have. And if we can do those things and eliminate the things that aren't good and replace it with something better, we'll have a much more effective and a much more valuable business and life. I would assume, it can't hurt if you get rid of people who are not helping you build. And if you continue doing that, even in your sales staff, like a lot of us may have agents who are working for us, but maybe those agents are either toxic, or they're not working, or they just kind of just not even interested. Sometimes, and I'll be honest with you, I've heard this from so many people, that getting rid of your bottom 10% of your performing salespeople is actually really good for business, because it picks up morale and it eliminates the people who are maybe pulling everyone else down. So with Alejandro saying that, I think that we've all got some questions to ask ourselves, like, hey, is everyone in my camp pulling their weight? Is everybody doing what they could do, if not to the best of their capacity? And maybe sometimes it's not even them. Maybe sometimes it's us. Maybe we're not meeting with those people and telling them what our expectations are. And we're not telling them, this is what goals are, and this is what our mission is. If we don't express to them what our mission is, how do you expect them to know and or get excited about what we're doing? And if they still don't improve and get excited about what we're doing after you've done all your leadership things, then it's time to maybe look for some other people in your camp to help you grow your business. You guys have anything else to add?
Yeah, Luis, I was just going to say that finding the right people for a business is extremely difficult. And I own a landscaping business, and I do have workers. I have 3 guys that work for me. And it's as you said earlier, sometimes when you do it yourself, you do a better job than they do. And yeah, and that tells you that you don't have the right people when you end up doing or doing the job that they cleaning up after the mess they've made.
Yeah.
And but I also do believe that and I came to this country in 1998. I met a guy, a very competent person that taught me everything I know in maintenance. I mean, from how to use tools and things like that. This is going back in 1998. And I looked up to this guy. He was my boss. And you know what? Today, he works for me.
Look at that.
I pay him a little bit more. I pay him $30 an hour, as opposed to the other guys that, you know, that get paid way less.
Yeah.
And he's dependable. He knows he's very competent. He's so good at what he does. And the one thing I learned is that really treat people with respect and honor.
Yeah. I couldn't agree.
The people that are working for you, treat them with respect and honor, because you never know. You know, and at first it was kind of strange to hire somebody that was my boss.
Mhm.
You know, how I'm going to supervise this guy? He knows more than I do. He's older than me. But you know what? He has a family to feed, a wife in the hospital as we speak, and he needs the money. And so he'll get the job done. And I know that I don't have to be there. I don't have to supervise him. I know that the job will get done whether I'm there or not.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's tough to find the right people. Yeah, it's
It
not
should
easy.
be. If it was easier to find the right people, everybody's business would be successful. We would all be
Mhm.
multi-millionaires. And it's like that with everything, right? It's hard to find the right clients to work with.
Mhm.
It's hard to find, you know, the right house to buy. It shouldn't be easy, you know, it's because it's just human nature. There's an 80-20 rule. You know, 80% of the people do 20% of the work and 20% of people do 80% of the work. So we have to find those 20%, right? Right, John?
Yeah, for sure.
That's rare. So like they say, hire slow and fire quick.
Mhm.
Yeah. Good, good, good. So does anyone else want to share anything or what they got out of this or any questions?
I just want to share, Lou. I'll
Yeah.
be have an audiobook on Sell or Be Sold by
Yeah.
Grant Cardone.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Man, that thing is great, man. It just got me back on my grind,
Good.
and it's very motivated, and it give me ideas of like how to. I was kind of late my business go. I think, like you say, I got burnt out getting in multiple things.
Mhm.
Trying to do everything is it's not a way.
Yeah.
So I just focus on the call. Really, I'm gonna focus on the calls
Yeah.
instead of just trying to feel myself busy doing construction work and all this stuff. This doesn't really, they don't really give me that much return on investment. I make my business of calling.
Yeah.
That's how I really start buying houses. So I don't want to go be a contractor and waste all this time unless I have to. But yeah, this is a great book. If anyone interested, I can share it. It's free. And it's great. It's Grant Cardone actually talking for 12 hours.
Share.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, I can share the link. Just text me. I'll send you a link.
Mhm.
Awesome. I will. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you got to look at that, guys. What's your ROI, like your biggest return on investment? And the biggest investment we have is our time. So if we can get a return on time, like Alejandro was saying, more from making calls than we can from being at a job site, babysitting contractors, then maybe we should do that. And then hire someone to oversee contractors on our behalf. So we have to make an investment in ourselves, because if we know we enjoy doing something, we make a lot of money doing it, and we're not doing that, then we're losing money. We're wasting time and losing money. We all have a finite amount of time on this planet, guys. It's true. We don't know how much, but we all know we're not here forever. So every day that goes by and every hour that goes by that we're not doing our highest and best use, it's a waste of our time for sure, 100%. So thank you guys for being here. Hopefully this information has resonated with you guys and giving you kind of an outlook on what to do next, or maybe take a deeper look at what you're currently doing and what you can stop doing, which is more important than what you can start doing, because we can't start doing something until we get rid of something else, right? So once we make more room in our life to be more productive and successful, then we can start becoming masters of our own time, and then also master delegators. And once you become a master delegator, guys, then there's no limit. Your future is literally limitless. So yeah, so thank you guys for being here today. Anyone else want to say anything before we go? No, we're good.
Thank you so much, Luis, for touching on that.
Thank you.
Oh, no worries, Ivani. Hopefully that helped you. Thank you. Hey, John, can you do us a favor, brother? Can you take us out with a prayer?
Sure.
Thank you, my friend.
Yeah, Lord, we praise you and we glorify your name. we thank you for this opportunity you have given us to begin our week and set the table for the rest of the week and help us to put into practice what we have learned today. Lord, thank you for Louis and his willingness to and the sacrifice that he has made for us to learn from his experience and his expertise. Father, we do ask that that you continue blessing our businesses, our respective businesses, and above all, Lord, may you bring customers and may we find favor in you in everything that we put our hands on. So be with us today and the rest of the week, and when we meet again this coming week, we'll be careful to give you the glory and honor. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
John.
Amen. Thank you. Have a good week, guys.
Everyone, bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Good one, everyone. Bye.